First of all, I want to thanks Luca to be with us this evening. Also, if in a virtual way, but I think this is the new communication of this period. Anyway, I hope that when everything will be finished, we to have Luca in our fantastic school in Milano. You know what to say. I can tell you that a few years ago, we were in New York. I don't know if Luca, you remember?
Yeah.
Years ago. And someone took a picture. There was Luca, there was Jasper Morrison, Piero Lissoni, Ione, and myself. And this photo was published on some international magazines, no? And in particular on Azure, the magazine from North America, from Canada, they published this photo saying this photo remember to us an old photo of the 60s and with Ettore Sozzas, Achille Castiglioni, Vico Magistretti, and Marco Zanuso. No? And it was nice because, again, the journalist was saying, again, you know, it's a new era of design. And the interesting thing is that you can see different person with a totally different approach to design, but all together they are working for design. And I think this is the spirit, because for sure the approach to design of Luca is different from Jasper, or Jasper is different from Jade. But anyway, I think that really the most important thing is always to strongly believe and to work on design. What I think is interesting about Luca, I think that the interesting thing is that, you know, his projects are always playful. You know, in art, I like very much Jean-Michel Basquiat because he was used to say that he's always, he was looking not to the drawings of the kids 4 or 5 years old and taking inspiration for his drawing from paintings from that drawings. No? And I think that the approach of Luca is something like that because when you look to the projects of Nichetto, they're always very fresh. They make you smiling. And I think that this is really very, very important. Achille Castiglioni was used to say that for sure, doing good design, you have to do beautiful and useful product. Not totally, you have to make people smiling and dreaming. And really is what I think about Luca and what I find looking to the Nichetto projects. And that's it. I think the second interesting thing about the Nichetto career is this cultural contamination because he lives between Italy and Sweden. So this idea, this concept not to mix South European culture with the North European culture, I think that is really very, very interesting. And I think that you can see again this sort of contamination of influence between Italy and North Europe also again in Luca Nichetto's projects. So that's it. Thanks a lot again, Luca. And now we are here to follow you.
Thank you, Giulio, for this nice presentation. Hey, hello, everyone. I wish next time to have a Venetian spritz together. And they say no that more virtual we became, more physicality we need, and I'm sure that when we see each other will be exactly like that. So I'm gonna to now share my screen and to show you the presentation, hopefully. Let's see. So here is the share the screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
So what I want to talk with you today is the little island where I born and I raised, and that have a very big impact in my way to think about design and about creativity in general. This little island is called Murano. It's famous all around the world for the glass industry. And for me, it was the perfect place to going around, playing with my friends, and discovering friends, relatives, and also partially my family was involved in the glass industry. And in particular, my grandfather, that you can see in this picture, Giulio Nichetto, he was a master, a glass master, and he was specialized in doing chandelier. And I still have this picture in my home here in Stockholm. And for me, it was in the moment that he was showing me different picture when he was during the war or later on. When arrived this picture, there is him, managing to do one of the arm of the classic Venetian chandelier. And in the front of him, there is this man that you can see with the eyes that are looking the glass pieces that are, was one of the, let's call, designer of a French company that was producing the chandelier in Murano. And I asked to my grandfather, but who is this person? And in Italian, he told me, è un disegnatore. The disegnatore means a designer somehow, someone that is drawing. And since that moment, I was always thinking, oh, wow, it's possible to drawing something and then also having someone that is doing something for you, very close to what you draw. And so since I was a baby almost, I always drawing a lot. And through the opinion of different people, everyone was telling me that I was pretty good in drawing. And then I started to decide to study at the Institute of Art in Venice. That was one of the oldest Institute of Art in Italy, where there was different section. There was a ceramic section, there was gold section, there was architecture section, and there was also a glass section that, of course, was the one that I picked. And with my classmate during before the summer, we were working and preparing a lot of drawings that we put in some folder. And not because we want to be designer, but just because we want to make some money to have fun during the summertime. And we start to go around the island and knocking the door of the different factory to see if someone wants to buy our drawings for later on realize these pieces. And that is the first time that I start to make some money with designing something. But of course, it was not really a nice project. It was really more only about shaping, etc., etc. But for sure, that kind of experience, going to knock the door and meeting people and try to convince someone, was very important. Later, when I was, finished the high school and you need to decide what you want to do when you will be a man, let's say, I discovered that there was this new faculty, part of the architectural faculty in Italy, in Venice, that at UAV, and that faculty was called Disegno Industriale. And honestly, before that, I have no idea what means Disegno Industriale, that if we translate in English is industrial design, but is in Italian meaning Disegno Industriale was really mean designing for industry. Doesn't matter if the industry is smaller or bigger or mass production, was designing for industry. So I decided to give a try to this, and I started to study industrial design. I started to be very passionate about the design history and as Giulio mentioned before, Achille Castiglioni or the Italian master, and understanding the different approach. And but in the same time, I was maintaining the ritual to preparing this folder full of drawings and going around Murano to try to sell these drawings. And luckily, I knocked the door of Salviati, that was is a company based in Murano, very famous in the beginning of the 900 to produce mosaic and glasses. And that time, the art director of Salviati was a man from United Kingdom, from Great Britain. His name is Simon Moore. And I think my career is really based on that encounter with this person, because I showed to him this entire folder full of my drawings. And he told me I would buy everything. I said, wow, my summer would be amazing. I can go to dance with my friends. But then immediately after that, he said also, I would buy everything, but I will not produce nothing of what you did. And I was, who is this crazy man that want to buy things without to make profit of that? And then he explained and said, I want to show you that I can see that you have a talent, but I can also see that you don't understand what a company like us need. So I want to show you that I'm investing some money because I think could be very nice if you came here and you spend some time with me, where I will explain you what we are looking for, what is a brief, etc. So when he mentioned the word brief, for example, I have no idea what was a brief. And so I decided to, also because it was very close from my parents' house, to pass once per week in Salviati. And in that time, I had the chance to meet people that for me was like people that I was only, studying or seeing when I was going to Milan for the Salone. And I had the chance to meet Ingo Maurer, Tom Dixon, Ross Lovegrove, Anish Kapoor, not only designer, also artist, Amanda Levette, Thomas Ederwick, and many others. And the most interesting thing for me was the opportunity that I had at that time to see different approach, different people. Someone was arriving with the first rendering, other was with amazing sketches. Someone was just arriving with nothing and just talking about what they want. So the time that I spent with Simon, and he was introduced me to all of these people, was for me kind of master that I was doing in the same time that I was studying in industrial design. And that time also gave me the opportunity to really appreciate the craftsmanship and how much important is the understanding the process, and to create a relationship with the people that is in the front of an oven with 1,000 degrees, trying to realize what you have in your mind, and try to find also a very nice way to communicate with that person. And knowing that also glass as a material, you have only few seconds to take a decision, because otherwise the shape will be different. Also, you are learning to be a decision maker and not to start to think too much about what you want to do. And that kind of exercise later on, I was trying to apply also to other industry when I start to work also with other material and other typology. In the picture that you can see right now is an installation that I did in Milan, if I remember well, was 4 years ago, to really emphasize the technique and the process that there was in Salviati, and also to help the company to somehow back on track, because for many years they had a lot of internal trouble and it was not performing. So when they asked me if I can do an installation for them, I was more than happy to help this company that for me gave me so much in terms of the beginning of my career, but also a kind of learning process and meeting people that later on also helped me to understand better what to do. And the craftsmanship for me and the relationship with people is something that I always try to use, and maybe sounds a little bit romantic, but I think this is one of the secrets of the Italian design. This kind of very deep connection with the artisan, and also not only an approach where you show a drawings and you expecting that drawings will be done exactly how you thought, but also a kind of exchange with these people, a kind of mutual benefit from maybe a naive vision that the designer have in the beginning that somehow will take shape in the moment that you have the expertise of that person that give you some suggestion. That kind of, this is, in my opinion, working internationally with such a lot of different brands is something that I can say that you can find only in Italy and maybe partially in Japan. But the network of the supply chain and Italy have this perfect playground where you can really find people that are enthusiastic about helping you to make your dream become reality. And during that process, in the same time, you can really not only producing something, but you can also learn something. And that learning process is what in the end become your knowledge and your know-how that you can apply in a different way with many other client or partner in the future. Right now, in this picture is one of the products that I designed for Svängsten. Svängsten is one of the references in Sweden for, let's say, the modern lifestyle and design. It is a brand that was created by Astrid Eriksson and Josef Frank. And since I moved out and I have opened the second studio in Stockholm, one of the things that I also thinking that is very important as a mission as a designer is to be able to help this little artisan to survive, and also to being able to connect these artisan and these skills all around the world. So when I have the opportunity, also if the client is not in Italy or not in Venice, but is very open-minded, and he gave me the opportunity to work, for example, with Murano glass, if the typology is request, I always try to create these bridges, because I truly believe that is part of our responsibility as a designer to being able to maintain also a network and a supply chain that otherwise are going to suffer a lot in the future, because everything will be only related to the price and the profit of what you can produce. And this, for example, approach I was also used with De La Espada, that is a Portuguese company, very famous for the woodwork. And what I want to say with that, wood is completely different from glass, of course, but the skills, the time, the experience, and is part of a sort of heredity or legacy that is from generation to generation transfer. And I think that we need absolutely to have the sensibility to being able to move that, and in a contemporary way. And I always thought that until 3 weeks ago, before this crazy crisis, there was always this huge debate about affordable design or luxury design, etc., etc., and also about sustainability or producing too much, and so on. I always thought that it's very important to being able to designing something that also, of course, the price is important, but the most important thing is what you transfer to the product, to the customer. So if you are able to transfer not only an object that have a single function, but also an object that inside have history, tradition, technique, skills, and many other things. Also, if the price of this product looks like expensive, in the end is an investment that customer are doing to somehow preserve and save tradition that otherwise will disappear. And is also a way, in my opinion, to educate the customer to being more sustainable. Because if you want to buy something that is a little bit more expensive, you need to save that money until you are able to buy that. So you are not going to buy other things that later on you throw away because quality-wise, they are not very good. So for me, craftsmanship is also very related to the design process. And I think, let's see if I'm able to move to, yeah. This, for example, is another project that I did with Sancal. Sancal is a Spanish brand, very focused on the contract market. And I had this dream for many years to do a sofa without any stitch. And 10 years ago, approximately, my wife, she's a tailor, and she's working right now as a responsible for the male costume to the Opera House in Stockholm. That is the reason why we moved to Sweden, by the way. And she introduced me to a Danish textile designer, Marie-Louise Hellström. And I remember I was talking with her. She was doing research in the textile, working for different brands, for the thread, from the color. And when we were talking, I say, you know what? I have a dream one day to be able to do a sofa without any stitch. 3 years ago, she called me after 7 years that we don't talk to each other. And she said, you know, Luca, I found a supplier in Italy that are able to knit it and to do what you was mentioning me 7 years ago. And so we start to try to experiment and go into this supplier and to find the machine, the weaving machine. And in the end, we were able also to create this dream and to make this dream real. And I'm saying that because also time, and in a society that we were living, let's see if it will be the same after that, after what we are living now, that was super fast, very, very into a consumism also of ideas. There was not really time to go deeply in the research and to find solution. I was always somehow criticized also myself when especially talking about the industry, especially the furniture industry. And I was always thinking, but I'm doing design or I'm doing style? Because I was the time and the time and the research and spending time with these people, the artisan, the supplier, trying, make error, trying again. You need to invest time. You need to invest your patience. You need to invest your resources. But it's also true that in the last couple of years, I was seeing also my work in my studio. We have a lot of requests. There was sometimes we say no to some clients, sometimes we say yes, but there was always this super fast timing on developing and the research, and the price was super important. So somehow everything was taking a direction that was not exactly the direction that I was dreaming when I started this work. And then I started to become quite critic with myself, but also observing the things that are around us. And I'm showing you now, for example, a picture of a bespoke tailor that is called Bauer here in Stockholm. It's the oldest tailor in Scandinavia. If you are going to this tailor shop, a jacket or a suit costs approximately around 4,000 euro. But they are doing like 4 trial to you. They take all the measurements of your body. They're using the premium material. They're using super skilled tailor, and everything is handmade. That kind of jacket or suit is true also that it's not that you are using for 1 year, then you throw into the bin, but you can use for longer time, because if you want to adjust a little bit, you are back to them, they make the adjustment, or they change the pocket, and it's something so well done that that amount of money in the long term will be a very big investment. But the approach can be also the same, not investing in something like that, but going, for example, to Zara or H&M and buying something that costs 40 euro, that looks quite okay from 2 meters, but then the fabric is synthetic, the stitching is completely done not properly, and you are using maybe this for just one occasion, and then you buy another one because this is not anymore fashionable, and then maybe you are buying another one. That approach that in the beginning was really connected to the fashion world becomes something very close also to the design world. And I really think even more now that this was completely wrong, because design need time to be developed, need time to be create, and need time in building relationship with people and understanding the value of what we are doing. And this criticism, I show you here a movie that I love it, that is The Devil Wears Prada. And here you can see Marilyn Streep with eyes that she wants to kill someone, because this is the scene where she is talking about a trouser that was just like blue. And when she asked to her assistant what color is that trouser, she says blue. And Marilyn Streep say, no, it's cerulean. And you need to look the catwalk done, now I don't remember which brand, where the cerulean blue was used during that catwalk, they spent such a long time to develop and to find that that color was perfect for that. And now you are dressing this, thinking that it's cheap, and you don't understand that this was taken as an inspiration for something that cost a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I was showing you that because, in my opinion, this is really connect to what we are doing, and I think is also part of our mission, as I say before, to being able to preserve the real value of what is design, at least for me, and even more trying to see if this will be what we want to transfer for the next generation. And here I put a sentence that Abraham Lincoln said, that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I put this sentence now because I think it's even more important, even more actual now, this sentence, because we cannot just thinking that everything will be changed and everything will be different and we can continue in the way that we were working previously, but what will happen in the future, we don't know. But we can, as a designer, create it. So, and we can create it if we know the value of what is part of our heritage and our legacy, and we try to emphasize that. And here is also another example of something that is very related to what we were talking. This is the famous Navy chair produced by Ameco. Ameco is an American brand famous to produce this aluminum chair that originally was used for the Navy in the States. And this chair is approximately, if I remember the real retail price, around $400, $450, and is handmade, hand weld, polished by hand, and it's a chair that costs that amount of money, but is impossible to destroy. When you buy this chair is forever. And then there is other situation that was influenced a lot, and I put these images now, that there was the big debate about traveling by plane, traveling by train, how much we polluted the world, how much we are not polluting the world, how much we can eco-sustainable, etc., etc. The previous chair that I show you is one of the most, in my opinion, eco-sustainable product that I know, done in aluminum, could be recyclable aluminum. When you are buying, the life of the product is really long. So, and it's maybe polluting when during the production, but we need to know also that every action that we are doing in producing something, we are polluted somehow. We are polluting somehow. But then there is also a company famous worldwide that are predicting they are doing democratic design, that everything will be possible for everyone. I don't know if I'm saying that because I'm in Sweden, but this company that is huge company is called IKEA. And IKEA in 2014 did a chair that you can see on the right in white that is identical of a chair done in 2006 by Norman Foster for Ameco, the same company that was producing the chair that I showed you before. And this kind of behavior in design is identical on the behavior that I showed you before through the tailor shop that are doing handmade jacket and Zara or H&M. So the question is important the price? Yes, but it's important also the value that we are transferring through what we are designing. And this, for me, is something that I was, and I still, very critic. I'm very tired, but not for the copy. I'm not talking about the copycat. I mean, we can open a big debate about this. I'm much more worried that this kind of action is going to kill the most important value in what we are doing, that is people, the work of people and the expertise of people, just to make something close but cheaper. And here, there is another sentence that for me really helped me when I was in a moment that I was reflecting to my work. And There is Massimo Vignelli that says styles come and go. Good design is a language, not a style. So this for me should be a tattoo for not only for me, but I think for all the generation to understand also the difference between style and design. And I think should be something that we should really use all the time when we are approaching a project. And here I want to show you just few projects that I did that all the time I try to use and to being honest to myself first, and also to the profession that I love most, that is to be a designer, and not only to be a designer, but the design world. This is my first architectural project that I did in Beijing in 2013. It was a multi-store showroom for 3 different brands, and it's called Tales Pavilion. And the idea here was working with the profile that you can see here, done in brass, and is normally profile used to do the frame of the windows. And I really want to use this profile as a brass because knowing that Beijing was super polluted, I want to use the characteristic of the brass to oxidize quickly, even more when the environment is polluted. So I want to create a facade that somehow make people understand how much polluted is the place where they are living, and somehow make a manifesto to understand that they need to do something. This is a work that I did for this gallery store in Toronto, in Canada, that is called Mjolk, where I work with different artisans all around the world. You can see the first project to the left is called Aureola, is a tea set to create a ritual around sharing the tea. And we produced the porcelain in Arita in Japan, and the wood part is produced in Canada. In the center, there is these 2 little candle holder that is called uki, where the glass part is produced in Murano, and the brass part and the copper part is produced by a small artisan that normally are doing bells based in Vancouver. And to the right, there is Suka Baruka, that is a coffee set, a coffee filter, that also is done in Japan, and the tray is produced in Canada. And here is something, is not a product, is more a Windows display, is an installation that I did for Hermes for the reopening of the store in Venice, and where I had the chance to involve friends that are working with glass in Murano. So we decided to do a sort of big box, like a box with the toys for the kids. And then through this geometrical shape, you can build whatever you want. So we built this kind of fantasy, like a city, and we put these blocks together to make a train. And I'm showing you that not for the function of the project, but more for the meaning that for me this project was important, was really like finally moving out from the styling and doing something very related to the craftsmanship and the quality that is also valued, that for Hermes is super important. And after that, we did also the store in Hong Kong, where we called this installation Dream Carousel. where also we play with glass, but also with some artisan based in the south of China, very good on the woodwork. And every windows have a different theme. And there was a windows with this huge bubble done in glass with inside the pieces of the porcelain produced by Hermes. And then there was this huge carousel with this candy and this fish, I don't know the name in English, but this galleggianti, I don't know. And here is like the man windows where there is the man that is fishing and these floating things on the water is becoming like UFO. So for me, when I had the chance to work for Hermes was very inspiring because after many years, finally I had the possibility to just work in creativity, producing, craft, etc. And then I want to show you one of my last projects that is the art direction that I'm doing for this company that is called La Manufacture, that is a French company. And the company owner was introduced to myself 2 years ago, and they are working very, he owned a company that is working a lot in office contract market in Paris, in France. And he had this dream to have a brand. And when they introduced me to him, they show me the catalog of what they were doing. And he asked me to design a chair for him. And I say, listen, I can see the quality of what you are doing. I can see the craft of what you are doing. But looking the catalog, looks like, you know, when it's the end of the week and you open the fridge and you have a piece of carrots, a piece of tomatoes, a piece of other thing, you put all together. And in Italian, we say, you cook a minestrone. So for me, your catalog looks like a minestrone. And of course, I mean, he was not very happy about my very straight point of view. But a couple of months later, he called me and say, Luca, I would love to ask you if you want to art direct in this brand. And I say, I have one condition, that we start from zero with this value to try to create new things, working with international designer with different culture, with different sensibility, and trying to work with quality, craftsmanship, and evaluating that. If you accept, I will do that. So, and he accept, and January of this year, we introduced in Paris this new brand. And we're now working also in the second collection. We introduce also some clothes that have the same philosophy of working with quality, with tailor, etc. Now we are in the end of the presentation. And what I want to say with this talk is there is so many things that make the design world interesting. And probably because I'm Italian now, living abroad and now stuck abroad, I always feel that Italian design in general is the perfect playground where all the designers all around the world want to come to play. But in the same time, when you are learning and you are trying to play in this kind of playground, you have also the opportunity to share what you learn and back to your original country and to spread that kind of approach. And that approach, for me, the most important part is the respect for the legacy, the tradition, and the people behind every single project. Because I truly believe that designers are just a creator of small community every time that they are doing a new product or a new project. And that also take a lot of responsibility. And that is what I wish for now and also for the future, that all of us, we will be able to do. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, Luca. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks a lot, because it's very inspiring what we are saying. And I want to ask you one thing, if you can, because we spoke at the beginning about the cultural contamination. No? So if you can just tell us just a little bit about the project that you made with the Okisato named a few years ago.
Ah, yeah. Wait that I try to stop the sharing of my video.
Yes.
Stop the share. Here I am. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, with Oki, that is a very good friend. We talked also yesterday together. Was funny because I was like a magazine from Sweden asked me to be a kind of journalist. So I went to Tokyo to do an interview to Oki, that he was the guest of honor to the Stockholm Furniture Fair. And I had the question to ask to him and my iPad to record all the interview. So the plan was to have an interview around 20 minutes. In the end, we ended to talk for 3 hours. And it was amazing because it was really a talk where we were talking about the relationship between Italy and Japan, between Sozzas and Kuramata, between the similarity in our culture in terms of craft. And also, we were talking about that we were 2 designers, same age, more or less. I'm 1 year older than him. And we were saying, why we are not doing something together where we can show that the designers are not only always in competition, but we can be also partner in crime in to do something new. And that happened was end of October. And I remember I was going to the airport to take the flight to go back to Venice for Christmas time when Oki called me and they said, look, I have the idea how we can work to do something cool. I said, cool, tell me. So do you know that there is this process in Japan where a poet is sending one sentence to another poet, and the second poet complete the poem with another sentences? Say, no, I don't know that, but I know that there is other way to do these kind of things. And we decide to experiment and try this ping pong, where he was send me a sketch, and I was interpreting this sketch and send back to him to create something new. So then, with not so much money, we find a small location in Milan. We find some company that was working with me or some company that was working with Oki, and we asked to the company to support us to realize this prototype. And we create this exhibition. We make a small catalog where the main things that we really want was inspiring designer, not to being cool because we did that, but really to inspire designer to show that we can be even stronger if we work together. And it was very interesting, the reaction to this exhibition. And there was, of course, someone that say, "Oh, Luca, you take advantage of because Nendo is more famous than you," or someone that say, you know, always you create something, but it's important to create something. Yeah. And the result of that, for me, the most beautiful result of that is the friendship that both the studio have since that moment, the help that we gave to each other. And when I told that I spoke with Oki yesterday is because he called me to ask me how was the things going here, if I need help, any kind of help, to let him know, if I need mask or not, let him know. So it's something that is not only related to design, but it's also something that is really connect people.
Sure. Anyway, I think that it was a big example of cooperation, because normally many designers are jealous of what they are doing, and they think that really this cooperation that you made, it was really something very, very strong in terms of, it was a provocation and communication, but I think that it was really very, very interesting, because this presentation, it shows like two people that have maybe a different approach to design.
Yeah.
Because your approach is different from Oki's approach, they can work together. And I strongly believe in this kind of projects, because at the end, the most important thing is to do good projects, and that's it. And I like the idea to work with other people, and always to try to communicate with people that have different heritage, different culture, and so on. So I think that this is absolutely very, very interesting. And I really think that also, really, from the personal point of view, not to work with Oki is a great experience, because I always say that the nice thing is that Oki is a Japanese that smiles.
Yeah. That is the...
And also there is so much enthusiasm in what he is doing that is fantastic. And we are preparing a nice exhibition about these 18 years of friendship and cooperation. And okay, it will be postponed for sure, but we will do, I hope, before the end of the year. Good. Another thing that, and I think that I totally agree with you, you spoke a lot about the artisanal way of working and about quality, no? And I think that this is absolutely very, very important. Here in Marangoni, we have students coming from all over the world, and really they come to Milano because they have the possibility really to touch, no, the quality of the made in Italy products. They have the possibility to see the showrooms of the main brands in the center of the city. They have the possibility to cooperate with many different companies, no, and so to work also with the R&D development offices of different companies and so. And they think that really, for sure, we can find very good quality everywhere in the world, not only in Italy, but I really think that we have to defend, no, the craftsmanship, because this is something very, very important. And without that, the industry cannot exist, no? And so I think that, again, to do a quality project is not only just to do a nice design product, but really the quality of the craftsmanship. And you work also in Sweden, and you work also with international companies. And also in Sweden, there is anyway a tradition, no, in craftsmanship. But I want to ask you if you see differences in the approach of craftsmanship in different areas of the world, starting from the Far East or to Italy or to Sweden or to Spain and so.
Yes, there is a very big difference, in my opinion, between Italy and the rest of the world. In Italy, when you are going to a supplier or an artisan and you ask to do something that they never did before, you ask, is it possible to do that? They look at you and they say, maybe. In that maybe, there is everything. If you are going, example, I remember when I went to a supplier that was doing luggage and I asked to do a lamp. And he told me, I never did before, but maybe. And in the end, he made it. And we did a lamp for Foscarini. If I'm going to a supplier here in Sweden or a craft person here in Sweden that are very good in, let's say, doing handle in wood, And I asked him, is possible to do an umbrella? He said no, because he never did that before. So, and this kind of behavior I find in many countries. And in the beginning, I was thinking, okay, maybe I need to be more clear in what I want and designing properly, but there was no way. If they are specific on that product, they will do that product. The flexibility and the patience that, I repeat, I'm not saying that because I'm Italian at all. I'm saying that because it's a fact. And if it's possible to go to someone that until yesterday was doing, I don't know, mattress or textile for mattress, and you ask to them to do a jacket, in Italy they will say yes, or maybe they say maybe. And then in that maybe you can navigate to find a solution. Abroad, I feel that is much more rigid. And then I'm talking abroad in Europe. If we are talking about United States or China, we are facing other kind of reason why they say yes or no. It's because the scale of the production is completely different, and they don't have really the time and the way and the mindset to think to invest such a long time in the R&D, because they don't have the structure for that. So that means also, as a designer, you really need to know what kind of industry you have in the front of you, and being able to adapt yourself also in the project wise. If I'm going to United States with a sketch, nothing will happen. I need to go there with almost the industrialized product. And to industrialize a product, I need to know how to industrialize a product. So it's very important, in my opinion, especially when you are working internationally, to being very clever and smart in understanding who is the person and who is the company in the front of you, and then trying to manage that also in the output in terms of projects.
Very interesting. I totally agree with you. Sorry, my last question. You work with many international companies, maybe small, medium, or big-size companies. And when you do a new project, when they ask you a project, how much is the Luca Nichetto? How much is the answer to the needs of the company? This is a provocation more than a question.
I like this question because I always like the sentiment that say that the designer is the father and the company is the mother of a new project. So I really like the idea that there is a kind of 50-50. So if, for example, the Luca Nichetto approach is becoming a signature, is good for media, for many things. But personally, as a designer, I don't think it's too much good, because if, for example, I design this box, and the same box I give to Giulio for Cappellini, and the same idea I give to, I don't know, Harper, the result in the end will be different. Sure. Because there will be the knowledge and the DNA of the company that are going to interpret that. And that, I think, is the most beautiful things about design, when you are sharing also that part. So when a company, a client approach me, I always love to have a 50% of Luca Nichetto, but the other 50% need to be the DNA of the company.
Good, perfect. Sorry, my last question, and which is your dream for a next for a project? That's mean a project that really something that you have not yet done, but you really dream to do in the future.
That is a good question, because during these days I'm talking a lot about what is my dream, but more to survive, to be honest. And
but you know, as Italian, after the virus, we will restart stronger and stronger.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. We need to be proactive, and I'm sure that we will end in to be even more creative than what we were before. The dream, I mean, I have a lot of dreams, but the one that I really like now, and is not a product or a space, is I would love to design an experience, trying to really work in an experience where, and I'm trying now, honestly, these days, investing also my time to understand what kind of experience I want to create. And of course, this experience is very related to partially what I speak during the talk, and partially also what is my idea of this, what this society, in my opinion, we need later on. So it's not really something that I want to design, but it's more to design a macro things that then can be interpreted in a different way.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to design a sort of landscape, no? A cultural landscape.
Exactly.
Perfect. Very, very good. Sorry, there is someone that has some questions for Luca. I don't want to make other questions.
So they can write also on the chat. Okay, I have a question.
I can see.
Okay, you.
Yeah. Hi, could I ask the question?
Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was really interested in what you said about like research and development to come up with the new kind of innovative materials or innovative ideas. And so as a student, like I wanted to experiment with different things. For example, using like hair from, let's say, salons, and using
I can't use that.
No, I mean like collecting hair and gluing it up, or like heating it up and changing and forming new materials with that, for example. What would you suggest as like a student to like some kind of avenue to try and explore with different things? Like, should we do it ourselves at our homes, or is there like a kind of organization or association which helps students get access to resources and materials to like experiment with things? Is there something that exists that you're aware of that kind?
To be honest, I don't know if there is an organization to help you to do that. The first question that I ask to myself is, a part of the new material or using hair or whatever, is there is a meaning to make that? There is a reason to do that? Or is just because it's experimentation to find a new material?
At this moment, it's pure experimentational. So like maybe hair was just an example as I was giving, but maybe with some other...
Yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit old-fashioned, but also my experimentation for me was always with a final goal to achieve.
Okay.
So
maybe
doesn't mean that the goal needs to be precise, but at least something to touch. If it's too much, naive in a way, I think is something where maybe you can put a lot of energy and effort that in the end ended up in a bubble that explodes, because there is not really a meaning to that. So for me, before asking what kind of researching material or whatever to do, is why I'm doing that and what I can solve with that.
So
that is like the first things. Then when you give to yourself some answer of that, then you can start to understand and research also if you can find organization or support, because then you will have much more clear where you want to go.
Got it.
That my advice on that, the best is ask question to yourself, being very critical to yourself in giving you answer, and then try to achieve at least one goal, and that help you to define if you need help, organization, or whatever.
Right. But I was asking if there's like a place for just wild experimentation, not like a goal centric, if you were aware of.
I don't know. I'm a designer. I always have a goal.
All right.
We have another question from Ramses. Can you wrote or say?
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thank you for the speaking. I have a question, and it is related to one very interesting thing that I kept from your conference. How the design world, how the designers can manage to teach the people to give more value to the handcrafted, to the design pieces, and somehow defeat these huge consumption companies.
How? I mean,
how can we have a better impact, a bigger impact on people's education to reevaluate?
I mean, you know, there is some designers that say that they want to change the world with their design. I never been that kind of designer, and it's very important to have a dream in terms of trying to achieve most that you can of that dream. But I also think that the bigger impact is not done by a single designer, but is done by a community. So it's not for me that me, Luca Nichetto, I can change the perception of the customer because I decide to work with the Murano artisan to do a lamp here in Sweden or a candle order in Toronto. But that action and that kind of connection, for sure, I can inspire and show to other people that that is possible to be done. And then if people start to realize in the value of what we were talking, craft, legacy, heritage, and many other things, and start to see the value on the product that we are designing or whatever, the interior or whatever, then start to be not anymore a single voice, but start to be a lot of voices that say more or less the same thing. And then all together we will have an impact. But if all together we are trying to do the cheapest product ever, then everything switched to the other side. So it's also true, and that is a critique to designers, that always, of course, we need to see our work not as a mission, but also as a business. So we need to be able to maintain our business, to have an income, to be able also to create an outcome that maybe is more, let's say, philanthropic. But both should be balanced, because otherwise the risk is that everyone wants to work, I don't want to say names, but for, let's call, Danish company that are selling volumes of things just to make a big bill with royalties. But that part is not for sure supporting the craft or quality. So I don't know if my answer was clear.
Yeah, totally. It's a collective, individual process.
We have many questions. So the other one is from Sophia. Can
Where is
you?
Sophia? Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
Sophia.
Hi. Ciao, Luca. Okay. So my question is, could you tell us about some failures in your career as a
Sorry,
designer?
can you repeat, please?
Some failures
Oh.
in your career. Yeah, if you ever had any, of course.
Do you have today's?
Yes, of course.
I did so many failures, and I'm still doing failures. I mean, I think it's more the failures than what I did well, to be honest. But you know, when I was younger, I was a basketball player, and at that time I don't have a belly. I was in a good shape, and I was a big fan of Michael Jordan, and there is an interview of Michael Jordan that say that in his life he missed 66,000 shots. He lost so many balls. He lost so many games. But in the end, he did 200 good shots that he win the game. He did 20 steal and ball that he win the game. So the number was much smaller than what he failed. And he won 5 championships, and he was 5-time MVP. So I think that interview of Michael Jordan is very interesting also to relate to a career as a designer. So only, in my opinion, doing and failing, you are also learning how to do the good things. I am a very big fan of trial and error, because, you know, there is, and now I can be even critic with my category, there is some designer that say less is better, and they are doing 2 products per year. And it's a choice. My personality, I can't do that. I need to do things. But not because I want to, you know, show that I'm better than others. It's just my way to express myself. And luckily I have the opportunity to do these things. And all the time I'm trying to do the best that I can, every project. But you never know when you are failing. Sometimes it's your responsibility. Sometimes it's too early for the market. Sometimes it's too expensive because there was not the number. So there is so many factors that influence the success or the unsuccess of a project. But to be honest, I think depend also how you calculate the failing, if the failing is economically, or if the failing is that you are not happy about what is the result. I can say that professionally wise, what I create until now, I'm proud of 90% of what I design.
Pretty much everything. Okay.
Economically wise, I'm proud of 5% of what I design.
So you're not rich enough.
I'm happy. I'm happy I mean, I'm happy about what I'm doing. I didn't decide to be a designer to be rich. That for sure.
Good.
Yes. We have a Pavel now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Pavel.
So
I want just to say something, that there in this moment there are everyone in a different country in the world. It's like Mexico, India. Where are you, Pavel?
Milan.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, I would say like a very important situation nowadays. So do you think that the current situation in the world will affect design, and how?
Will affect badly design? as it was 3 weeks ago. How? Because the chain is broken, and because it's not anymore like it's not a financial crisis, it's something else, and it's not something that is just related to one country, but is global. But to be honest, I think also the world of design was a little bit saturated. And there was for many years the feeling from people in the design world talking about traveling too much, production, the distribution problems, a lot of things, pollution, environmental friendly, cheaper, not cheaper. So I think we were going, slowly in the same direction that we ended right now. The crisis now just make quickly everything that probably will happen later. And I think also offer a big opportunity as all the crises. For example, we are doing a conference virtually right now that probably we were not able to do something like that a month ago. So also the way that designer can think, or how we can launch a product, or how we can use our creativity, I think this crisis can offer to us other perspective that maybe later on, when there will be hopefully soon a more normal situation, the experience that we are living right now maybe will teach us other process or other method to achieve other things later. So of course it's tough, of course it's complicated, it's caring, it's touched, there is people dying, but as we need to be proactive, in my opinion. We need to be also looking the world that is not stopping right now, and we cannot just thinking that everything will be just normal as before, and use this moment just to really work with ourselves and thinking about what is possible to do later. As I say, it's really difficult to predict the future, as what I was saying with the sentences of Abraham Lincoln, but for sure we can be the author of our future. So as a designer should be a very good author, and I think we can write some new chapter that could be very interesting.
Thank you.
Now we have Gilan.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Gilan.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm from Egypt, and first of all, I want to thank you very much for your talk, and I want to thank Marangoni and Senor Cappellini for the talk. My story is very different than yours. Yours is actually my dream. I wish it had happened to me that way. I used to work in finance, and then like more than a little over a year ago, I decided to go into design, and I used to paint a lot when I was young and everything. And so right now what I'm doing is that I'm working on a project basis with another designer. Mm-hmm. We're doing very different things like public spaces, installations, furniture design. And I took a little diploma, and obviously I'm applying at Marangoni and a few more schools. But I think maybe what I want to ask about is your opinion. Like, I want to design so many things. I'm getting ideas all the time. It's so I feel like I'm scattered, you know. So maybe wanted your advice as to how to start, what to do first, you know, like steps into the design world.
Well, in my opinion, there is not a real recipe in
of course.
I mean, I was born and lucky enough to have, I mean, to grow up in Murano. So that was very, I mean, I never decided to be a designer, to be honest. It was a kind of consequences of many things. And advice where to start. I think, first of all, having many ideas and different ideas is good. It's very good. The problem will be the other way around. And but I think also it's important to understand, first of all, what you want to do with your creativity and with your vision. So I think the beginning is really important to ask to yourself what is the things that you think is a dream, is a goal, but in the same time you can see the way to achieve that. So in a very practical way. And I think that is also a good exercise, because when you achieve that and you know how to achieve that, you can also build experience how to achieve more difficult things. So my advice is more being focused in project and things, and start maybe with the things that you can see that you can easily achieve.
Okay.
And then move in the next step.
Okay, thank you.
There are Alexander that probably want to ask you something close to the last question, because he wrote on the chat the question, and he say that you want to understand what could be the process to find what they say opportunity with your company, and in which way you can present yourself if you have to make a models 3D or example. You want to know what is okay.
Well, I don't know, honestly, what is the best way to present yourself. I think I think the best way is to present yourself in the way that you are yourself. So I mean, you cannot just to think about that if you are doing amazing rendering, the rendering will be the things that make people choose your project or other things. I will start to think also in another way. I mean, right? What I want to do as a designer, I want to work for the furniture industry and lighting industry, whatever, and trying to be also critic and understand that word. There is space for me or not? First, I can be actively achieving what I want or not. But in the same time, there is so many other things that need good design. And so one thing is really to try to look around us and maybe explore different paths that was not so much, or maybe are not so much used to work with designer, and trying to see how much can be an impact of a good design in that. And later on, if the goal in the end is also to try to work and make experience in the furniture or lighting or everything, find a way after that you have start to build some portfolio in another segment or other sector, moving into that. But realistically, I think right now in the classical world of designers, means furniture, lighting, and small table accessories, we are too many. It's kind of saturated. So or you need to be amazing good, but that you know from the beginning. Otherwise, my advice is trying to find other solution, other path, other market that where the impact as a designer can be even stronger than that. And then for sure moving in another sector.
It's me, sorry. I mean, that I asked this question, but I have a problem with the camera. I don't know why. But I mean, so if I have the idea probably of something and I think this idea is good, so I can make the 3D model, something like that. But how I can something like sell this product? I mean, so I need to upload the portfolio, or I need to call to the companies definitely, or what do you do?
There is so many ways. You can call the company, you can ask appointment, you can send an email, you can send the portfolio. Start also with the idea that maybe there will be no answer, there will be a no, there will be, I mean, but then you need to find yourself the patience and the energy to continue to keep going if you think that this idea is good. And then in the end, you will understand if the idea was really good or not. Because maybe if for 10 times companies say no, maybe the idea was not so good. Then you will understand to do something else. So also the process to approach the company, I think, is very a learning process to understand how good is or not what you are doing. So I'm still receiving no from my ideas. And I remember in the beginning when I was trying to design a lamp for Foscarini, for 1 year and a half, I was presenting a lamp every month. And they always say, no, 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 no. And I was trying to keep going until finally they say, yes, let's try.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, we have Carla now, but Giulio, you want to say something?
I'm saying that it takes time to do good design. That means, to be successful, it takes really a lot of time. It's not you can be successful in 6 months. Really, you have to work very hard every day for years and years. And anyway, I think that if you do something good, people, they will understand you. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And Carla, I want to ask you something, but it's probably something you already answered because it's related to the impact that the actual situation gonna have on the design system in general, and what the necessity will mean for people from now, and related to the situation, the impact that it could have on the designer to create work or to find job. Or...
Well, I mean, I can be.
You're a designer. You're not
I think there is so many experts now that are talking every single minute about what this will be the impact in the future, what will be, how is the situation, how many. I mean, design is always an answer or somehow able to predict what the society wants. Always, from the beginning. So I think if you are a good designer with a good sensibility and you are able to catch the vibes of what is going to happen, you don't need to have right now the answer about what is going to happen. You are just exercise yourself to being able to catch that. And of course, all of us will have different sensation, different experience, and different things. But the truth is only one, that what was 3 weeks ago will be different after that. What will be nobody knows. But we can, for sure, try with our creativity and our approach to fill the gap that will be later. So you need to find the gap. That is the most important thing.
She said thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay. Someone else have a question? I think no. I want to ask you something. I know that we took a lot of time. If you can stay a little bit more with us, I want just to make a question related to the fact that you have two studios, one in Venice and one in Stockholm, and plus you work with company around the world. So how you can manage everything in a way that you have people that work for you in another country and company?
I was waiting that you was asking me how you can manage to have a family and 2 kids.
Yeah, this is a plus. This is, I know it.
Well, how I can manage? First of all, I don't know if I'm able to manage. And I have very good people working with me, not only professionally, but also, I mean, people with a good heart that support me. Without them, for sure, I will be not able to do what I'm doing. And it's complicated to have 2 studios in terms of really managing different rules to different countries, etc. But in the same time, it's not only a negative things, it's also the positive side. As Giulio say, for example, for me, since I moved here, of course, the influence of what is around me give me another perspective of what I'm doing as a designer. So I accept that as a challenge, and of course, create more richness on me, not only as a designer, but as a person. Open my mind in a different way. And I mean, it's hard. I mean, to be a designer and trying to work internationally is not just everything fun and fancy hotel, being in a flight, and or thinking about the jet set. It's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time, a lot of moment that you are by yourself in thinking what is the meaning of what you are doing. And it's not that we are doing that because I think most of us, we are not doing that because we like to be in a cover of a magazine or to be published in a media. I think it's more like the passion for what we are doing that push us to do that. But if someone loves traveling, to travel all around the world as a designer is not traveling, because you are landing in an airport, you are going into an office or into a factory is the same everywhere in the world. So it's not really that you are looking what is around. And so it's demanding. It's demanding a lot. And not everyone are able to accept that. And if you are not able to face that with a good balance and understanding that in the end, the goal for you is creating things, not to just have a fancy life, it's better to change job.
I got it. Okay, we're using the technology like we are doing now. So we are all together on Zoom, and we are speaking since 1 hour and a half. Why the company, they don't ask you to do a meeting online, and they want you that you're gonna travel around the world like in this way, like a crazy man?
Well, there is some companies. I mean, Italy was very down in the league of country to use these kind of tools, because working with a lot of Italians company all the time, also in the beginning of a project, they want me there to have a lunch, to have a dinner, or to introduce me everything. That is the nice part. As I say, I want to say, is the nice part where you really, they welcoming you, they want to share, that they treat you properly. It's beautiful. Sometimes it's not possible because maybe you are not there. And it was very difficult to convince an Italian client that I cannot be there physically, and trying to push to have the initial start of the project by virtual or online. All around the world is not that I'm going all around the world just to talk with people. Sometimes you start to traveling, and they ask me to be there to check the prototype and to see the physical things. So, I mean, I'm not designing video game. So I need to see the physical items, and I need to try, I need to change, I need to talk with people. So of course I'm trying to postpone until maybe the physical piece is ready, and I'm trying to do remotely all the work that I can. But in the end, when you are spread clients all around the world, and normally the appointment to present that project more or less is always the same, then it's easily become a kind of calendar that you need to respect. And then there is time in the year that you are traveling a lot, time that you are traveling less. I think maybe in the future there will be less projects, so you will travel less. But it's not that travel will disappear. Hopefully. Otherwise, I need to be a Venetian gondolier.
Okay. So someone else want to make a question, or no? Okay. I think that the students are okay about the question.
Good.
Sorry, but
thank you very much. And sorry, there is a question.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
So ciao, Luca. I'm from Indonesia.
Ciao.
Yeah. So my question is, during your journey, I mean, you've become a designer for a very long time, I suppose. Are there any doubts on yourself for being a designer, like having thoughts, am I worthy enough for being a designer, or like, have you been having hard times on yourself?
Every day.
Every day until now?
Yeah.
So
but every day I have the doubt if I'm, it's normal, I think. I mean, it's being a human being to have doubt. But then I think the doubt in thinking if you're is good what you are doing, if you are good as a designer, is what push you to be better. And if you don't have this doubt, then you will have a problem, because you think to be a king, that you are untouchable. And I think it's very, very important to have doubt, and it's nothing bad. And it's just being strong enough to understand that you want to become better. So how you being better? And there is between designers, sometime we were talking previously, a lot of jealousy, or people that like to criticize other designer, whatever. Part of that is just to provoke. Part of that is pure jealousy. And I was also thinking jealousy could be a good thing or a bad thing. But to be jealous of the work of another designer because you are thinking and you are asking to yourself, fuck, I want to do that. That is so good. I'm jealous about that. I want to be that. That is good because push you to be better, to achieve that level. So if you see someone that is doing something amazing, say, wow, that is amazing. I want to go there. How I can go there? So it's pushing you better, not just down. So that I think is very important, especially in the beginning when you are a young designer. Having doubt is good, but also seeing the things that push you to perform in another way.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answer.
No problem.
Giulio, vuoi chiudere la...
Yes, so...
Yes.
Andiamo a mangiare.
I was not drinking, absolutely. Sorry, there are dogs in my house, you see.
Okay.
They are part of the family. And so, you know, now, first of all, thanks a lot, Luca, for this very interesting talk. And I think that we can finish right now with the virtual spritz. And I hope that soon we have the possibility to have a real one all together. So thanks a lot again. And really, I hope for all of us that this terrible period will finish soon. And again, as you told before, we will have a lot to do for the next future. And for sure, we'll wait for you physically next time that you are in Milano at Marangoni. Thanks a lot again.
Thank you very much.
Luca.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
guys. Good
Ciao.
luck. Thank you, Giulio.
Thanks. Bye. Keep in touch.
Ciao. Keep in touch. Ciao, ciao. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao.